Welcome back to Brew and Biz Chats, and it feels so good to be back. We're kicking off this next chapter with a brand that's all about colour, creativity, and doing things differently. In this episode, I'm joined with the incredible Nadine, founder of Woven and Wilder, a kids' clothing brand designed for real life. Nadine is a first-time mum who found herself standing in the baby aisle thinking, is this really it? Beige sets over here, the same prints, the same styles. Nothing that reflected the bold, the curious, the vibrant little human that she was raising. And that's where Woven and Wilder was born. Inspired by textures and durability of the 80s and 90s, think terry toweling, chunky knits, Nadine has reimagined kids' clothing into something that's playful, practical, and full of personality. Clothing that's made for kids who run wild, explore freely, climb those trees, and bring colour into every moment. But beyond the clothes, this is a story about building a business that aligns with life, creating something meaningful while just still being present for the moments that truly matter as a mum or as a parent. Today, we'll dive into Nadine's journey of starting and scaling her brand, building a community around small business, and what it really takes to be creative vision to life. So grab a coffee and let's jump into episode 9 of Brew and Biz Chats. Hello, Nadine. How's it going?
Hi, Felicity. Thanks so much for having me. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. It's great to have you on board. So especially, look, I've got 2 kids myself, so kids' clothing is definitely one of those things. And when you say, those colours are boring and things, it's definitely hitting a knowing part of what we've grown up with. So I'd love you to take us back to, I guess, as you said, standing in that baby aisle. What sparked the idea for
I guess
Woven and Wilder?
I started buying for my daughter when she was very much still in my belly, and I think I might have been 4 or 5 months pregnant, as most first-time mums get excited and go straight to the shops and start shopping.
Definitely.
But what I just noticed the most annoying trend, and my best friend at the time was also pregnant with a boy. So, she's in the boy aisle, I'm in the girl aisle. 2 very different situations for both of us, 2 very different shopping experiences. In the boy aisle, all you've got are dinosaurs and trucks and diggers, or, a cartoon character of the moment that's the flavour of the month, where it's, Cars or Toy Story or what have you. And in the girl aisle, all you've got are unicorns and rainbows. And, some things are cute for sure. Don't get me wrong. I still buy from Kmart and, those big brands. But there's no variety. There's no difference. There's nothing unique about it. And when you walk into Kmart, you're going to see 3 other mums with their kids wearing the same stuff that your kid's wearing. And it just got to a point where I was like, okay, why is that all that we can have access to? Why do we have to just resort to that to dress our kids in? Not to mention, we all know as soon as they spill one thing on it, you're never going to get wear out of it. And it goes, I have a drawer in my daughter's room, which is the house clothes drawer, which is everything that hasn't survived the first wear. And that just goes straight into there to be worn around home. And it's wasting money at the end of the day. You're just spending money to wear it once and put it straight in a drawer to never probably see the light of day again. And then you go out and buy it again. So it was kind of that feeling of wanting to replace what all we had open to ourselves to buy with the dinosaurs and the trucks and the rainbows and the unicorns, wanting to, offer an alternative, but also offering something that mums, you might spend a little bit more now, but you're only going to buy it once. You're not going to have to go out and buy something 3 or 4 times, which would then you'd end up spending the same amount of money that you would if you just bought something good once. So it was kind of both of those paths converging onto the one, and it's the whole, I'm on maternity leave and would love to spend every second with my daughter, so what can I do to approach that aspect but also fix the problem that I was seeing in the shops anyway.
Yeah, no, that's so true. I mean, I've gone to parties where the same, like there's 3 different kids wearing the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's because it's gone from, say, a bigger brand aspect. And I also remember the childcare bag clothes. So we use them as what we call it. You're going lounging around the house is our childcare bag clothes. Yeah. Because they were always going to kill them at childcare with all the food being spilt and crawling around. So to us, it was just the ones that can go and get the holes in them. It was no issue. But definitely hits home on that one. So I guess you talk about your pieces are all about texture and color and the nostalgia. Tell us a bit, where did you land on that unique style as well? Like obviously away from the trucks and the rainbows.
Well, that's it. It's more so about the quality and the memories that come with all of the clothes that we used to wear growing up. I used to remember my mum dressing me and my sister in the same outfit, and it was always these, like, yes, I grew up in the 90s, and, you know, you've got those bold prints, you've got those really cool colors, and, you know, the clashing patterns and the two different colored tops and bottoms. And obviously, with time and fashion trends, everything kind of ebbs and flows, and you then merged into the beige mum era, and everything is brown, or everything is grey, or everything is like a pastel color. And I, again, still like those things, but it comes to a point where if that's all that's on offer, it gets really, really boring. So I used to love looking back at photos of me and my sister growing up, my cousins, and it was just what kids are supposed to be. It was loud, it was bold, it was bright. Kids are meant to be seen, and I think we get into these habits of dressing our kids for ourselves, which again, we pay for they're our little dolls, you know, we can do that. But my personal preference is not a beige baby. My preference is, when you're young and you can get away with it, dress them funky, dress them cool. When you get older, you can be beige. Like, that's what happens when you're an adult. Life gets boring and you wear black and brown, and, you know,
I should have worn a colourful top today.
That's fine. And look, this is my little beige moment with a pop of colour. But, you know, it's trying to understand that kids are allowed to be bright, kids are allowed to be loud, and their clothes that they wear should be as well, essentially.
Oh, I definitely agree. I think we grew up in the same era, so I do very much remember the tracksuit pants and the tracksuit pants and the jacket that's the same suit, but, you know, it's bold pink or bold blue, and it's the multicolored, and it was just bold colors, really.
That's right.
Whereas, unfortunately, because the colors can be very beige and blacks and shades of things, and that could potentially lead to kids only wanting to wear those clothes because that's what they're used to. Whereas, as you said, if you don't, when the kid's not ready to choose their own clothes, you can dress them in what you want, and they can actually hone in on what they might want to wear in the future.
They get a little sense of personality themselves and start to design, you know, feel within reason, of course. We're still the parents, you know, the zookeepers run the zoo, not the monkeys, but you've still got to give them a little bit of free will and a bit of fun as well, as opposed to just dressing them in brown stripes.
Completely agree with that. It's a fantastic idea. So obviously, away from the clothes a little bit, you've mentioned obviously you've started this brand and you're building a community around you and scaling. I guess going more on the small business side, and you as running a business, how have you found the journey so far?
I can sit here with my hand in the air and say, I had no clue what I was doing, and I thought I did, but I didn't. You know, you see all these people, oh, they run a business, it must be easy. They run a business, it must be easy. It's definitely not. The learning curve that comes with starting a small business is, you know, really alerting to the fact that we didn't get taught anything we needed to in high school. No one needed to know about algebra. No one needed to know about Pythagoras' theorem. I knew nothing, and I probably still know a dot on the radar compared to most about, you know, sole traders and income tax and GST and all of these things that are really relevant to even just a consumer, let alone a small business owner. And that's been the most alarming thing. So, you know, being really diligent in, you know, tracking expenses, recording purchases, making sure your bank accounts are all lined up, and knowing what you can and can't claim, and all of these things that beforehand I thought, oh, it's okay, I'm just going to start with X amount of dollars, I'm going to go spend X amount of dollars, and whatever I sell is mine. Well, no, it's actually not. You know, you've got to account for this bill that's going to pop up, or, you know, you've got to do a stock order out of nowhere, or all these things. So it's definitely been an eye-opener. I'm a very organized person as it is. I'm very time savvy. I like a list. I like a spreadsheet. But I had no clue when it came to just doing that from a professional capacity at previous employments and roles, to when you're the boss and you're managing everything top to bottom and having to teach yourself really what you need to track of, what can be used as a business expense, what you should purchase for the business, what you can't purchase for the business. All those things have been very, very eye-opening, that's for sure.
And it is very different if you're thinking about when you're in employment compared to then suddenly running a business. I mean, when you're in employment, you have a wage coming in, steadily coming in, that you know you're going to get paid on that weekly or fortnightly basis or monthly basis, to then going, hang on, I'm running my own business and I need to keep moving and motivating myself to ensure that money's still coming in to pay those bills that are going out. And it is a very different mindset as well. Like before, when you got employment, taxes are paid for you. You know, your pay-as-you-go withholding is withheld from your wages. Oh wait, hang on. Now, if you don't,
am I going to be at a point where I need to withhold my own tax and put in a bank account and not touch it or charge it to my customer? And those were all things that I just thought everything was done for you. Definitely isn't done for you.
No, and that's leads very much into what have you found that's helped you support in that manner? So what have you done to help educate yourself in that manner?
So my amazing business partner, AI, has been super informative in all of those little last minute questions. I have also engaged services with professional accountants to try and make sure that I've got all of my bases covered so that when tax time does come around, I am prepared. I also use a tracking tax app that is linked to my business bank account as well, that helps to categorize your transactions, and that helps to then generate profit and loss statements when the time comes, because I knew that if I was relying on myself to manually reconcile my bank account and track it on a spreadsheet, that was never going to work with my busy schedule. I'm a mum. I do most things myself. My daughter is not in any kind of care, and I don't have a village around me. So I get nap times and bedtimes to work on the business. That is it. So it's very much a matter of making sure I was forward planning for, yes, we only do tax once a year, but you've got to be planning for that once a year throughout the whole year. And I think that's another thing that I did get caught on. I caught on quickly, but it is something I did get caught on by thinking that I could just leave it to last minute. I forget sometimes to do my allocations for like a month, and then I'm sitting there categorizing transactions, ingoings, outgoings, all of those things, because I know that if I don't, when it comes to tax time, no one's going to know up from down. So it's making sure that I've got a bit of a system, whether it's a bit archaic, maybe possibly, but having a little bit of a system that's going to help me track things so that when it comes to tax time, I can just go, here's my app, here's access, look at my transactions and hope that I've done the right thing by categorizing, mapping, and keeping track of everything that's come in and come out of that account.
You have just touched on so many points that we talk to our clients about, is keeping up to date throughout the year. Tax is a once a year lodgement for if you're lodging your tax return, potentially quarterly if you're registered for GST, but it's not that you wait until a quarterly basis or a yearly basis to do your return, do your reconciliation. If you're waiting that long, how do you know when to scale? How do you know what the ins and the outs are? How do you know how business is going? One of the things that we do really hone in on and educate our clients on is having a monthly reconciliation at a minimum. Like, I mean, I've got to work with a lot of clients, so when they come to me, some of them are still sitting at that once a year. We get them down to quarterly, then we get them down to monthly. It's all about improving that system. Another thing you've definitely touched on is systems in place. So the accounting software that you're using, if you, as you mentioned, using Excel spreadsheets or using a spreadsheet over here and a spreadsheet over there and manually doing things, I will say one of our recommendations is, okay, how much time have you saved by using an accounting app?
I guarantee if I was having to track on a spreadsheet, it wouldn't be getting done. So then I would be spending the hours and hours and hours on June 29th probably trying to figure out where my top and bottom is. So I do probably spend because I do only probably do it monthly, doing my allocations, but I probably spend maybe 30 minutes once a month to just go through. I try and upload my receipts for purchases as I go so that they're ready to be allocated. Sometimes I forget, and then you've got to go searching while you're allocating, which is a pain. But I do try and do that once a month. And I reckon I probably spend only about 30 to 40 minutes once a month if I've stayed up to date throughout the month with adding receipts for purchases. Just tick yes, tick yes, tick yes. Like, it does make it easier. It's a bit of an extra expense from a perspective of the software that you're using, but 30 minutes a month.
So much more time.
Yeah. I'm not going to miss 30 minutes a month. I do it while I'm watching TV sometimes. I just hit yep. Because, it learns for you as well. It kind of predicts what the expense might be. So usually you're just hitting confirm. Sometimes you've got to fix the category, but usually you're just hitting confirm. So it's going to make everyone's life easier, though, at the end of the month to reconcile transactions by category than having to reconcile individual transactions completely.
Fantastic. And look, you just explained it perfectly. If there's anyone listening who is sitting there on the borderline, I just want to save some money and just use a spreadsheet. When you're launching your own business, having the software in place from the very beginning is going to save you so much more time.
Yep.
And it will save you time in the long run, because the time you spend on your business, you said you're working around naps. Mm-hmm. You're working around getting the work done. So if you're saving time in bookkeeping by just simply getting that reconciliation done through an app, you're focusing on your business.
That's right.
Which is what you need to focus on the most. Getting those next product line out, the next release that you're doing.
And becoming a full-time content creator and all of those things in between, it happens when you become a small business owner.
Oh, no, you've got to get that content out. You've got to get those videos out as well. Come on.
Yes.
So I guess obviously being a product-based business, there's a lot to do with, apart from the accounting side of things and the tax and the cash flow, you've got to source and design and inventory being kept. What's the biggest learning curve you've had with that?
The design process, if I'm being honest, has been made a lot easier in the last few months because I've actually got a designer now. I have them on a contractor type basis, but that's kind of helped. The biggest eye-opener for product-based business and manufacturing your own products is actually finding a manufacturer, and one that's good. I have unfortunately had to fire one manufacturer already and find another one, and I'm nearly about to fire them again. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I do a lot of quality control, which I guess you should anyway, but I definitely do. And I don't accept a lot of things, so I have to, then delay launches because I have to wait for a product to be remade, but I would rather do that than push something out that's not perfect. But that's kind of been the hardest part, because you spend weeks going backwards and forwards with people, and it's time zone differences because my manufacturers are based out of China. So you're trying to communicate with them, plan things, work off a date they give you, then they get delayed because they always get delayed, and then it arrives and something's not right on some of the pieces. So it's the whole process of going backwards and forwards with somebody who's in another country. They're not held to the same consumer standards as Australian manufacturers are as well, which makes it tricky. So you have to really rely on, and sometimes be a bit firm, unfortunately, to kind of put your expectations out there, and then you've got to manage that. So it's another, wheel that's always turning in the background over here is, what's this timeline for this product line? And then when it gets here, magnifying glass, I have measuring tapes everywhere around my house because I'm constantly checking measurements. Like it's a process. And I guess it goes in hand in hand with the type of business that I do have. I try and say that I've got, and I market myself as having quite a high quality, product. And it comes with really good quality control, only accepting 100%, not 98%, not 99%, 100% things being made correctly. Because if I'm going to expect my customer to get an experience out of the clothes and get the life out of the clothes that I'm telling them that they will, I then can't cut corners on the back end while those clothes are being made. So it's a whole hand-in-hand process. But yeah, the hardest part for sure, manufacturing and finding a good manufacturer. That's been the trickiest part.
That's a great insight, because realistically, like, a lot of people will jump online, they'll see a product and go, oh, I'll just buy that. Or they have a complaint around the pricing of things, but don't realize how much work goes into making sure the quality is really good. And that's when you find the right brand that you want to stick with, that quality control is what's going to set you apart from other bigger brands out there.
I spend hours when my stock arrives, hours unopened, and my things are in single-use packaging. So half the time I've then got to repackage everything as well. And it's once something comes out, it doesn't go back in the same way. But I spend hours randomly getting pieces to measure chests, hems, pant legs, check buttons, check snaps, check the overall latches properly. Like, it's all these things that make sure that, so when you buy it and you spend, yes, you're going to spend possibly 30% more on my product than what you would find on a similar product that's in Big W or what have you, probably more than 30%, but you're going to spend a bit more. But it's going to be 100% cotton, and it's going to actually be a high quality material that's not, 120 GSM, which is going to be see-through under the sun. You're going to get a good quality fabric that's durable, but you're also going to know that snap's not going to pop off as soon as you kick their leg out because they're having a tantrum, or the overall strap's not going to pop off when you're trying to get them dressed and then you can't wrestle it back on. Like, it's all these little things that I make sure are done correctly, so that when the customer spends that little bit extra and chooses to support my business, they know that that product's going to last as long as their kid fits it, not because it's got a hole in it, or it's got a stain that won't come out, or the button's broken off it and you can't get it back on. Like, it's all these things that you can't go to Kmart and get a refund with them and they don't care either. Whereas, I'm going to make sure you don't even need the refund in the first place, basically.
That is fantastic. I'm just suddenly picturing, that overall button just flying off, and it's a safety hazard as well. Like, you're talking, your kids are wearing these items. You want to make sure that they're durable, and whereas that's what you're paying for. You're checking that safety on that it's suitable for the children and it's going to last, which is a fantastic thing to have in products on the market now.
Your kids' safety is number one, and whether it's clothes or whether it's anything else, you just can't risk anything.
Yeah, exactly. So it sounds like you put a lot of time into the manufacture or into the checking the manufacturing side of things. How do you, and that's more the practical side, I guess, but how do you find time to do creativity? You got your designer who's probably designing it. How do you find all this time during only a nap?
I'm a very burnt out individual on most days. I definitely burn the candle at both ends, but I was very lucky to find actually she was a customer of mine, which is what makes it I love it even more, because she genuinely loved the brand, and I think that comes through in the designs that she creates for me. We have 9:30, 10 o'clock meetings to discuss our, mood boards and, direction of collections and revisions and, going over her designs. It's all very much after hours. And I think that's what works for me. I definitely couldn't go and engage, your standard kind of designer who works a standard business day, because that just wouldn't work for my business. So it's making sure that the suppliers that I use are ones that are flexible, and offer that, because as a mum and as a full-time stay-at-home mum, it's, I definitely still want to dedicate time to the business. I've just got to find the time that suits me now. So a lot of late nights. I don't watch much TV anymore. I don't get out as much as I would love to for to the gym or going for a walk. Unless Delta's with me, we don't go. But it's to make sure that I find those pockets of time, because again, trying to have that point of difference from your big brands and maybe even bigger small businesses to help my brand stand out and make someone go, that's really cool, that looks good, it looks good quality, I want to buy that. And that's the whole feeling that I want to invoke when someone comes across my brand.
No, definitely. And you've got the mindset around it going, you're trying to create something. You will put in those later nights. You will turn off the TV and you will hone in on what you need to get done. I do know a lot of people do say, I don't have time for things, or don't have time to do the X, Y, Z. And it really falls down to what's your passion and why do you want to do this? You're creating a brand because you've got a purpose behind that, which is what's leading you and driving you into those late nights, into the juggling your time, because you're trying to create a future for what you want to do.
Yep, exactly.
So that's amazing. So I know last week you had a launch for a new line. So tell us, what's the new collection?
So the new collection is Celestial Dreams, is what we called it. Basically, everyone would remember, especially if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, that bedspread that everyone's nana and auntie had with the sun and the moon and the dark blue with the gold.
The blue one?
That was the Inspo. Very nostalgic brand over here. As I said, it's all about what we, enjoyed growing up as kids and invoking those core memories from our childhoods and bringing them into our children. So my designer and I had a brainstorming moment, and I have one right here. And this is our Cosmic Dreams tee, and that is our reimagined version of that bedspread that everyone had growing up. So it's definitely, we made it ourselves. We added shooting stars. We changed the sun and the moon, of course, put our own faces on it. But it's that kind of inspiration behind that whole collection. And we just kind of spun off it. So we brought texture back into this collection, corduroy, terry toweling. Everything's 100% cotton, though, which is also my point of difference I try to make sure of. But the whole vibe behind it was, again, bringing back those memories of our kids. A lot of my customers have said they could smell the photos that I was putting up, the mothballs and all that kind of stuff, because that was the memory that everyone thinks of. And some of my customers have said their nana still has it on their spare room bed today, like sent me photos of it and everything. So it was really fun to start talking about that with my following in the lead up to launching, and then seeing their reactions when everything did get revealed. That's the fun part for me. It's kind of like the Easter egg surprise Christmas Day moment when everyone starts seeing what you've dreamed of. But it was definitely, the whole point behind it was bringing back those core childhood memories we all had and trying to make it fun again for our kids.
I can definitely tell you I had one of those bedspreads. And
I found mine. That's what sparked it. I found it in my mum's linen cupboard. So
fantastic. Actually, now that I think of it, it's probably still in my parents' linen cupboard. I saw a photo recently about that bedspread going around on social media. So
I think Spotlight actually just reimagined it and brought it out on a quilt. So it's trending. I beat the trends and I didn't even know about it. So it was funny.
Fantastic. No, that's fantastic. So do you have another release looking forward into the future? Have you started planning ahead, or is it not yet in the works?
I have. It's unfortunately or fortunately, it depends which way you look at it. You can't really stop and slow down in small business land because people in the land of social media do get bored very quickly. And I do want to make sure that I am bringing out new things so my customers can keep their wardrobes full with Woven and Wilder. Our next collection is already in production. It's actually due to be dispatched in the next 10 days, which is very exciting for me because I like watch the clock. But we're going down the path of more warm, cozy winter vibes for the next collection. Very unique in the sense of the design and print, but also something that's a bit more streamlined in the sense of appealing to the masses a little bit as well. So it's kind of trying to take on two sides of the coin, and I think I've nailed it. We always do something for the mums with every single collection. I always make sure I have something for mums because we're always the last on our list, and I always make sure that
we definitely are.
You can buy for your kid, but you can also buy for yourself too in the one process. So we always do a mum tee. This was our mum tee from this collection. It's a cosmic mama tee. But we've got a t-shirt coming. I've also got exclusive for this little interview today. We've got a hat coming as well for the next collection. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm offering little Easter eggs for everyone, but it's in the works. The colors are divine. They're a bit more muted than what I have done, but there's still something you're not seeing in the shops, which is my point of difference again. I don't want to give you something you can just go and buy from Target. I want to give you something you're not going to see anywhere else. You're not going to find anywhere else. And it's the quality and the uniqueness, but there's something that, you're going to get stopped in the streets and be like, oh my God, where is your kid's outfit from? That's the entire reaction I'm always trying to invoke with everything that I do. But yes, it's coming very, very soon. It should be in Australia this month.
Oh, I'm excited to see the next launch then. That would be very exciting. I'm actually thinking I might just jump on and get some presents for the nieces and nephews for some of the existing range because I like those
present. Honestly, no one wants to go buy their kids' clothes. I hate going shopping for their kids' clothes. It's just another expense on the list. It's definitely a good gift, I think, to take that off the list of somebody else's to-do list as well. So you're giving the gift of clothes, but you're also crossing something off their to-do list at the same time. So it's a win-win.
No, it definitely is. So I guess, obviously, I know you said you're juggling all this different time, and we've talked about, obviously, purpose for what you're doing and creating something. Mm-hmm. But what do you do for yourself that kind of goes, okay, things might feel overwhelming. How do you keep your mindset in wanting to create and not, when you sat there and gone, I'm doubting myself, or have you tried, what implementation things have you, or tips do you have for other business owners that might feel that overwhelm and the juggle act that's happening?
I remind myself of two main things. Number one, I've got little eyes who are watching me every single day, even though we don't remember it or don't think they are. They're watching, and I want to have the ability to say in 10 years' time when she is about to be a teenager, which is actually scary to think, but in 10 years' time when she's about to become a teenager, I can say, I did this and I didn't give up. And it's that kind of lesson that I'm teaching her indirectly every single day, that I don't just give in, because small business is hard. It's isolating, it's stressful, it's financially stressful, especially when you're not yet in a profit, even after nearly 12 months in business. So it's definitely hard to not lose that hope, but it's that lesson that I'm trying to teach for my daughter. That's number one. When it comes to winding myself down, giving myself a break, giving myself a breath, I have a 3 weekly nail appointment that I do not miss, and I make sure I do not miss it. Rain, hail, or shine. Dad, she's yours. I don't care what you're doing. You come get her. I'm going to get my nails done. But also little pockets of time. I have a phone mount in the shower, so I can watch a bit of trash TV if I want to while I'm washing my hair. Like, it's doing 2 things at once. You get very good at multitasking as a small business owner, let alone as a mum. So Little pockets of time is all that I try and advocate for, because it will eventually, fill your cup up completely. It's just instead of doing it in one session, I might do it over 4 or 5 sessions. But little pockets of time to make sure I find things for me, and just remembering who I'm doing this for and why I'm doing it as well.
I 100% agree. I mean, those small pockets of time. Haven't thought about the watching TV in the shower, but I definitely listen to podcasts in the shower. If I'm not washing my hair, I've got the earplugs in, the hair shower cap over the top, and it's multitasking to the max, because honestly, we have to.
Yeah.
I do love about you got to always remind yourselves, especially as parents, there are little eyes watching. And I know since I launched Tax Espresso, those two kids are watching me watch what I'm doing, and they've even said, when can I come and work for you? How can we help you out? And they're seeing the entrepreneurial side. They're seeing that we don't just go off to an employer in the city. We're actually working from home, and we're building something for what we want for them. So it is always reminding yourself that little eyes are watching, and we're doing it for them.
That's right.
Is such a big thing. I guess, what advice would you give to other creative mums or people wanting to start a product-based business but are feeling unsure about whether they should create a business, or the tax side of things, or how they should go about it? What advice would you give if you could talk to yourself probably, 12 months ago?
Yeah.
What would you advise?
I would say, number one, do a lot of, make sure you've got that, gusto inside your brain to keep going even when you feel like you're going nowhere, because your internal monologue is going to be your worst enemy. So I guess trying to do what you can to implement tools to eliminate or minimize that self-doubt from day one, so it doesn't, creep in and overwhelm you as you go. But I guess doing a lot of more than I did anyway, because I've had a lot of evolution of the brand definitely in the last probably 6 months than I did in the first 6 months anyway. And making sure that you're really clear on your who. So who is your ideal customer, and what problem do they have that you can solve for them? And it's not just a matter of, in my example, making cute kids clothes. Anyone can make cute kids clothes. It's not hard. You put on a baby, it's cute already. So it's making sure that you're actually offering something, whether it even is a service, but you're offering a product that solves a problem that is going to actually help in some way. So for me, the problem that I'm solving is you're not going to have to go to the shops 15 times to buy your kids 3 new wardrobes because your clothes are stained and ripped and torn, or they've shrunk in the wash, or whatever the problem may be. So it's solving the problem of poor quality clothes, or clothes that won't last, and giving clothes that you can. My clothes are daycare clothes for a lot of my mums, and they survive. And that's the whole, point of difference that I try and keep. So I guess for anyone else thinking of coming into a business, whether it's a product-based business or otherwise, is making sure that you've got a really clear outline of who your business is going to solve a problem for. Because if you don't know that, you will be going blind. You won't. It really has framed my whole direction, my content plan, my marketing plan, my future collections, my growth and direction of the business. Everything has definitely shifted since I got really clear on who my ideal customer or who my person is that this brand is for. And there might be hundreds of them, but it's really who that one person is, and locking in on that no matter what.
I 100% agree. When I have clients come to me and say what their business is, I'm like, but can you tell me who your ideal customer is? Who is your ideal avatar? Because if you just go and say, every mum is my ideal avatar, every mum who's got a kid, well, hang on. But everyone's mum may go to, there's a lot of mums that will just go to some of the bigger stores.
Yep.
There's some mums that will not go to the bigger stores. Some mums will go to brand sections. So it's really a matter of knowing who your ideal avatar is, because that will shape your entire marketing.
Yep.
It'll shape how you talk to customers. It'll also shape believing in yourself, that this is why, that you're not comparing yourselves to solely your brand versus the big businesses brands, because you're not the same.
It's 2 different products, completely different products.
Yeah. So you're not comparing yourself to the clothes that, the $5 top over here versus it's not comparable.
No.
So having that, really honing in on your niche of who your client avatar is, and your why of who that person is.
Yep.
It's super important to write down before you even go, I'm just going to create a business. And I would suggest working with people, having the team around you to support you on that aspect and guidance. Or
I did a lot of work in the beginning with a business coach. I definitely learned enough to then be on my own confidently now, but definitely getting that help from a person who has that knowledge, if you're unclear before you even get started, would be my biggest recommendation for sure. And I know that you offer that guidance and coaching through, Tax Espresso too. So definitely recommended highly. If you've got no idea what you're doing, stop and do that first.
definitely, every person, and it doesn't matter, you always can follow footsteps of people who have done it before you or have had the advice before you. Don't just try to do it on your own and weave your way through everything on your own. It can end up being a complete maze. So definitely. So I guess to finalise it off, where are people can go to support you and explore Woven and Wilder? Where can they get to?
We are on all of the socials. So our handles are Woven and Wilder everywhere, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, I think as well. Our website is live, wovenandwilder.com.au. All of our collections are there. We've actually got plenty of stuff still available, but it's going so fast. All of our updates are there. You can join our mailing list and become a VIP, so you can stay up to date as well with any kind of future need to know things or future launches. But everything's online, fully online. We do markets here and there, but most of the stuff is you're going to want to stick around on socials and join our mailing list so you can stay up to date and shop when everything's coming out in the world.
Fantastic. And we'll also drop all of those links below in the descriptions for everything where the video has gone. So by all means, click on the website, go and check out Nadine's stuff, and it will be amazing. So I just want to finish it off with really what an inspirational way to kick off this new season of Brew Biz Chats with Nadine from Woven and Wilder. I honestly love your clothing and brand, and really what your clothing is telling you. It's more than just a piece of clothes. It's a story. It's creating something meaningful, embracing individuality, and really bringing colour back into childhood. So, I remember growing up with all my colours and your different coloured hair, different coloured clothes out there. Exactly. So I love your brand on how you've created that. So I guess really you've honed in on there has to be something different and turn it into a business. Yep. And that's really creating a vision that you have and turn it into life and building that around being present for your daughter and working around your time that you have. So I really love how you've done that. And it's really, it's a beautiful reminder of that small businesses isn't just about products. It's not just about the clothing you sell or the product you're selling at all. It's really about the people, the purpose behind it, and the community you're trying to serve. Yep. So I really want to thank you for joining me today. And if you are wanting to support Nadine and her business and check out her latest collection, please head over to www.wovenandwilder.com.au or check her out on some socials, and all the links will be below. So if you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay tuned for more stories just like this. Real businesses, real journeys, and real impact. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next episode of Brew and Biz Chats.